kind words about me. Basically, I am a teacher I was a teacher in the university for 36 years. Accidentally, I happened to be a diplomat for a very brief period. Though I could see Nepal even very closely when I was here for 14 months as ambassador of Nepal to India. I had no opportunity to Nepal better than when I was ambassador here. This is one of my experiences. Number two, as our chairman said that sometimes I say, in our context that we don't have any constitutional, nominal heads. Even so-called nominal heads have very active role in our context. We say that ceremonial position, but even ceremonial position can also do a lot of jobs. That's why I expect from Professor Muni, now he is the chairperson of the meeting, that he will have enough opportunity to, summarize the proceedings. Now, actually, I am going to just introduce the subject because I have other experts from Nepal. We have a member of parliament with the Constitutional Assembly. He is also an advocate. He has been re-nominated by the Nepali Congress Party. He was there in the first Constitutional Assembly, and the second, he is also in the second Constitutional Assembly. That's why he is better qualified than we people. Similarly, we have other people from who talks about Madesh, Tarai, things, and about federalism problems. Dr. Kisa Achetu, he has been following, he has been dealing with this subject. That's why I am not going to take much time just to introduce the subject. Of course, while we are debating today, even after we had the first Constitutional Assembly election in 2008, and very successfully conducted Constitutional Assembly. I think it's wonderfully conducted. Even the second Constitutional Assembly elections were wonderfully conducted. That part is okay. Nepal is very much smart enough to conduct such things, to indulge in such democratic exercises. We conducted a referendum in 1980, we conducted 59 elections, we conducted other elections also, and 3 general elections. A lot of exercises are underway still, but we have not been able to institutionalize democracy. That is our biggest problem. We have been able to do a lot of exercises, but still we have not been able to institutionalize democracy, establish democratic order. We don't have the procedural type of system. We take decisions in haste. Sometimes many of these things are taken on ad hoc basis. That's why this is one of the problems. And today I was also saying the same thing. Our politics is slightly complex. It's much more complex than the time when India was writing its constitutions. Because you had one party system, a virtually dominant party, Indian National Congress, and most of them, all the top leaders of the nationalist movement were involved in making of the constitutions. They had commitment, they had mission, they had so many things. They used to bargain, they used to discuss, they used to discuss so many things, so many issues in details. But in our context, what happened? Our forces are from different sectors. Actually, we don't have one major political parties, one dominant political party which can take decisions and try to implement the policies. We have heterogeneous groups coming from different political background setting. I call it political setting. It's totally different, historically speaking, even behaviorally speaking, from political culture point of view, we have different setting. That's why it is not so easy to theorize Nepali politics or just to have a comparative perspective. Of course, we can compare our situation with many other countries, but still, we have every country has its own uniqueness, and that is there. Similarly, Nepalese politics is slightly complex, and that's why it needs a lot of imaginations, also a lot of commitment. That part is lacking when you talk about our political leadership, because leaders are there, political parties are there, no political party has been able to get absolute majority, and they have been, they have intra-party problems, inter-party problems. Background is totally different. That's why we have to analyze all these things. And when I try to see from this perspective, sometimes I become slightly sympathetic to the actors who are indulged in this kind of things. We have Maoists. The Maoists transformed themselves after 10 years of insurgency. We have UML, CPN, UML, whose career started actually from the Naxalite movement. I come from that area, Dhapa district. I come from Dhapa, and the Naxalite type of movement started from my districts. They used to go, beheading people, and they kill many people, innocent people, etc. But after some time, they also transformed themselves. Now today, CPM UML, Communist Party of Nepal, UML, Unified Marxist-Leninist, claims itself as the biggest democratic party, even bigger than the Nepali Congress, or even more democratic than the Nepali Congress. That is the kind of transformation. And of course, they have their own approaches to see Nepali politics, to interpret Nepali politics, but still they claim themselves as a Democrat. Similarly, the Maoists now, after 10 years of insurgency, they have transformed themselves, and now they also say that they have accepted liberal democracy, inclusive democracy. That means all the people should have the chance to participate in the political process. They also believe in the social justice according to their manifesto and principles. And they say that they have now joined the system, they cannot go back. This is also unified Marxism. They have also now split into two Maoist group. Prachanda now is the chairman of one, and there is another group. Now third Maoist group has come into existence. When Netrapri comes, he was not happy because he also blamed others, saying that they have already actually sold out themselves to liberal democracy. That's why this is not people democracy and all that, and that's why he also revolted against the leadership, and he changed his position. Now, of course, if you look at the history of Communist Party of Nepal, we have many groups, splinter groups. This is the story of the communist movement of Nepal. That's why, and even then, the parties which are in Constitutional Assembly today, they have not been able to frame a constitution in accordance with their commitment. Because the first Constitutional Assembly exercise could not be successful, and they decided to go for the next the assembly elections, and now they are there. Now today's position is that these parties are trying their best, but though they have certain differences, very hardline positions. Some parties they have taken a very hardline position with regard to the representation pattern, with regard to the issue of Tarai Madhesh, how to design the federal framework, how to divide the provinces, then what is the basis of creating the provinces, federal units. The Maoist and Madhesi party, Janjati, we call ethnic groups, they call for, they demand for identity-based federalism plus capacity-based federalism. But some other parties say that ethnic-based federalism is not possible, we are opposed to it. That is a kind of disagreement on this issue. But according to the latest report, that they are trying to reach a kind of understanding for actually releasing a kind of draft constitution. In spite of having some differences, they are trying to agree on certain things. That is the latest position taken by these parties. And then what are the issues? Then the questions of election. What kind of election proposal? We have mixed system of election. The two Constitutional Assembly elections were conducted on the basis of mixed proportional representation and first past the post system, direct elections. But now there is a complaint that the proportional representation was not also fair enough, because political party had the monopoly, leaders had the monopoly to nominate their own persons of their liking. That's why, just to be more fair, and that has to be amended. That is the kind of position taken by other parties, and this is one of the issues. Similarly, federalism, another issue. Then, of course, the Madheshi, how to divide Madhesh into federal units, that is also a contentious issue. Particularly, I come from Jhapa and Morang area, that side. One of the leaders of the establishmentarian party, he does not like to bifurcate because it is basically, my district is basically hill-dominated districts. 70%, 71% of the populations, 69-70% of the population, hill population, and they don't like to give it to the Madheshi. Similarly, the Tharu in the far western regions, Kailali and Kanchanpur districts, the Tharu, these are 3-4 contentious districts, for which they are trying to, they are just having their own differences and trying to find out some kind of solutions. Because they have to find out, otherwise I don't think the constitution would be possible, because no party are going to agree on these things. That's why federalism is another slightly contentious issue. Then, of course, the forms of government, what type of government? Presidential, semi-presidential, parliamentarian, semi-parliamentarian, or mix of, we call French model, what kind of system? In the first constitutional assembly, there was an informal agreement on a mixed system, because the Maoists did not like to subscribe to parliamentary, directly elected parliament, that kind of system. The other parties supported the British model, that the parliament is first past post system model. That's why, just to forge a kind of consensus, middle way, just to have a middle way approach, they had agreed on that mixed system of government. But now, again, this is slightly contentious, but it's not so much contentious issue. They can have that kind of agreement. These are 3-4 core issues. Now, Nagarita, we call it, citizenship issue, particularly in the Tarai, plus now even not only Tarai, other people are also saying that they are very, very having tough time, particularly on the issue of citizenship. There is one word, father, one section said that, one group of people say that, why don't you have father or mother, both? If child born of a father or mother, but the other party say the father and mother. When you say father and mother, that means both the father and mother should be, that kind of, the word is also playing politics here. Or and n. In Nepal we call ra, athava wa. Wa means what? That is more contentious issue. Father and mother, or fathers only. Father and mother means separate thing. Father or mother, even father is not there, mother will have it.
Father and mother, or father or mother?
Father or mother. That is the most contentious issue. That's why these are 3-4 contentious issues. I think I see that we have, of course, naturally, these contentious issues never came so clearly, as of today, but now today we are discussing many things at a time. Nepal is a country which has to deal with many things at a time. You have to deal with development issue, you have to deal with education issue, you have to deal with creating federating unit, that is issue, citizenship issue, everything at a time, because we don't have any systematic evolution or evolutionary pattern of development. That is one of the problems. We have to start everything at a time. That is one of the problems. That is the main reason why we have not been able to institutionalize. Moreover, I told you in the beginning that we have different forces coming from different background, orientations. That is one of the problems we have to deal with this. And this is the situation that we have not been able to, because of that we have not been able to go ahead. And now we have many other people, and I think this is just by way of introducing the subject. I will have more chance to talk if I have time. Now I stop here.
Thank you, Professor Baral. May I now request Krishna Atechu to make his intervention? I've seen, of course, Krishna grow from a very, what you call, humble researcher to a very formidable scholar of Nepalese affairs. Please.
Thank you, Professor Muni, and distinguished
Your mic.
participants. My short presentation will be very focused on one of the major complex issues of constitution making, that is federalism. And it is contested issues on many accounts and many grounds. But I will focus on what is the difference between competing proposal and how it would have a political implication. So, before going to the subject, I would simply want to make a three statements. First, Nepal is a country of social diversity. Largely, we have three large groups: Janajati, Madesi, and Khosari. Before the unification, inequality among these three groups were hardly noticed. I mean, before the unification. But after the entry of the Nepali state into as a modern state since the unification in 1765, this diversity is translated into inequality. If you look the figures of these three major social groups, Janajati, Madesi, and Khosari, by Human Development Index, or Poverty Index, or Governance Index, one group, which is called Khosari, is dominant group, and the rest is discriminated, or say non-dominant groups. It eventually happened as a consequence of state design assimilative model of nation building in the past. So 2000 is a benchmark to correct the historical injustice in Nepal. So it is clearly stated in our present constitution, that is the interim constitution 2007. I hardly see any constitution in the world which admitted and confessed that the state as its existence is discriminatory state, exclusionary state, which is categorically stated in our interim constitution 2007. So, with acknowledgement of the Nepal as a discriminatory, exclusionary states historically, then what should be post-2006 Nepal? It is an imagination of the constitution that the post-2006 Nepal will be inclusive Nepal, which will achieve through end of discrimination, deprivation, and inequality that is based on caste, ethnicity, region, and religion. So my question is, the federal Nepal, which is under making, whether the federal Nepal we are trying to make will serve the very purpose of making inclusive democracy. And rather than going in return, for me, making a federal Nepal means creating a political space at middle level between central and the local. So the question is how to construct a middle political space and for whose interest, dominant or non-dominant groups. And we have two competing proposals now. One proposal is territorial administrative federalism and other is identity-based federalism. The competing proposal as this is territorial administrative based 7-province model. The other is identity-based 10-province federal model. And I will see difference between these two in terms of caste ethnic-based demographic composition. If you look the proposal of territorial administrative federalism, it is demographically convenient to dominant groups. hill high caste constitute as the majority or the largest group in 6 out of 7 provinces. This is the 7 province model. So in this 7 province model, 6 province, the present dominant group, they constitute as a majority or as or largest group. Then what would be its political implication when we will have a million political space at province level? If we take an indicators of okay, if you take the last election as an indicator, in this province, the Khasare or say dominant groups scored 86%. And next to that, in this province, the dominant group got victory of 90%. And in this province, the dominant group scored 81%. And in this province, the dominant group got victory of 64%. And in this blue province, the dominant group got 50%. And in this green province, the dominant group scored 45%. So if the last election is an indicator, when we will have this federal map, then my question is, again, it will serve to retain the status quo. So far, distribution of political power among the social groups is concerned. Besides this, if you look at the central level, all the electoral history in Nepal from 1959 onwards shows that from minimum 55 to 65% parliamentary seats, the result went in favor of the dominant group. If you look from the below at district level, if you take the last local election and indicators, out of 75 districts, 68% head of the district development committee was from the same groups. So it means if we design the federal Nepal in this way, it will not only serve, rather help to expand the dominant group in the political sphere at central, province, and the local level. And what is the another proposal? So the next proposal is, which is popularly known as a identity-based province, demographically convenient to non-dominant groups in 8 out of 10 proposed provinces. So my proposition or remarks is demography has its own political implication. The electoral history of Nepal reveals that non-dominant social groups has political leverage only in territorial constituency where they constitute as the majority or largest group. If we try to reinvent the cultural territory where it is possible, in this province, the dominant group will have a majority in this province, plus in this middle province. And for rest, in this province and this province, in this province, Haru, the tri-ethnic groups, that tri-ethnic groups will have a greater political leverage. And in this part, yellow part, the Persian Hindu high caste or say Madhesis. And in rest of this province, from here to extreme east hills, then demographically it is convenient to non-dominant group. So now the question is, when I try to look upon the two competing proposal and its implication, this model will help a lot to redistribute the political power among the social groups. With this preliminary remark, I will now straight go to what are the 5 major problems which really make very complex and complicated about our constitution making. 1. Scope of state restructuring is comprehensive, unlike limited change of ruler or political system observed in past. till 1990, whatever change Nepal had made from unification to 1990, it was confined either the change of the ruler or only the change of the political system. But post 2006, try to change the whole attribute of the Nepal state. For instance, from monarchy to republic, from Hindu state to secular state, from uni-language policy to multi-language policy. So post 2006 has a very comprehensive and larger content of the change. The second question is class of mandate. Movements and revolution that seeks democracy with differentiated citizenship, which is popularly known as an inclusive democracy in Nepal. And result of CA2 in favor of democracy with common citizenship or conventional liberal democracy. So the character tension, why we have not yet been able to build a minimum value consensus is we clearly see class of mandate. On the one hand, you have a mandate that started from the Maoist insurgency to post 2006 political declaration, which is considered as a Magna Carta, interim constitution, and a lot of the orders agreements made with the stakeholders. But the post CA2 election, so there is tension. I mean, tension means a mandate provided by the movement and the mandate given by the second two CA election, it conflict each other. The third is clash of interest among stakeholders. High caste khas are for retention of status quo and excluded groups like Dalit, Janjati, Madhesi for greater change. The social diversity is now increasingly translating into political division with the rise of caste Arya nationalism like Siani nationalism in Sri Lanka. Especially from the time of the expiry of the first CA election, May 2012, we have observed that rise of caste nationalism is heading towards the course of Siani nationalism. So if dominant caste ethnic rise or nationalism is taking the course of Siani nationalism, obviously its implication is obvious. Just last 2 points. The fourth is absence of commanding leader or party. Unlike in India, there was Nehru's leadership and Indian National Congress overwhelming seats in the parliament, Constituent Assembly. And unlike in the South Africa, like the Mandela's charisma and African National Congress, larger political leverage or the strengths in the Constituent Assembly. In Nepal, both in the first and CA election produced a hung party. So the problem is we don't have a particular leader which has a personality to command and drive the constitution. Finally, polarization of federal design. First Arya and traditional parties for administrative federalism and its political implications, as I explained in when presenting two comparative maps. And whereas Janjati, Madhesi and new parties like the Maoist and regional based parties for identity. These are the 5 key issues which really make me not much optimistic to have a constitution in the next couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna, for really unraveling some of the very intricate points of the constitution making exercise. May I now request Ambassador Karna, please.
Thank you, Professor Modi. I was speaking about Madhesi and constitution making in Nepal. I don't think I have to define Madhesi, but telling you the people living in the southern part of Nepal and similar language and culture of Bihar West Bengal. And it occupies around 23% of the landscape and 51.2% population lives in that area, and the population of the Madhesis are 33% altogether in Nepal. When I talked to the constitution making and Madhes, what I found that the constitution making derailed because of Madhes and Madhesis. We had earlier 5 constitutions made by same caste, same people, very dominant caste group, and always they completed their course within given period, either made by the king or the group of experts or the political parties. But the Madhesis intervened in the whole political process in 2006-7. Although constitution, the interim constitution has been made in 2006, Madhesi intervened in 2007 January 1st, and they changed the whole political discourse of Nepal, and federalism introduced. Although Madhesis are demanding federalism since 1950. So during this, so that's why the constitution making process is derailed at the moment. And what today is the, actually, there is an attempt, I am 100% agree what Professor Muni yesterday said, that today is attempt to derail and back to the achievement, to the issues of 2006 and 2007 Madhesi movement. Whatever the issues agreed in Comprehensive Peace Agreement, 12-point agreement, Madhes movement agreement, today there is an attempt to go back from all these agreements, which I am sure that will create another conflict in the country. So this constitution making process is derailed because of Madhesis. And Madhesis are trying since 60 years. In modern Nepal I am talking, although it is the fighting for 250 years, but in modern Nepal, Nepal is defined in the way where there is no Madhes and no Madhesis. And Madhesis are considered as an Indian as well as a foreigners in Nepal. Still, I can say that when there is a question of loyalty comes to the Muslim in India, the people always question over their loyalty. Almost same thing to Madhesis in Nepal, that we have every moment, and all Madhesi has to prove every moment that they are Nepali. So this is the basic issues which started federal discourse, inclusiveness, proportional representation, and the equal representation in the parliament. So these are the issues that the Nepali state defined where Madhesis are nowhere. So, and even if there is any problem between India and Nepal, the Madhesis are naturally become the victims of that. There are so many incidents in Nepal when there is even film actors to whom I personally don't know or anybody in Tarai or Madhes, so they become the victim of that incident too. So when Madhesi intervene in the whole political course, the total dynamics of constitution making and peace process has been changed. So this group has demanded their equal share, and that has led to the aversion of the first CA and the second CA also, which is still, if you see the issues of the federal design, mapping and demarcation, there are 6 districts in Tarai. The dominant group wanted to keep with the hill rule. So this is an attempt again to continue the hill rules in Tarai, Madhes. So that is another reason of constitution making. There are almost more than 131 issues yet to be settled in constitutional issues in Constitutional Assembly. Issues of federal demarcation, naming, forms of government, legislature, parliament composition, election process, even constitutional amendment, citizenship issues, whether it's the mother and father or mother or father, both. So this is another issue. Judicial system, tax distribution, resource sharing, there are a lot of issues act to be, but it is all linked to the Madhes. Many of the issues related with the Madhesis, to the equal share of, even if the citizenship issues. If you talk to the privately to the ruling class and ruling elite, they will tell very clearly that the citizenship issue is linked with the women are not getting, mothers are not getting that right, because that if that rights is written in the constitution, the ladies, our daughters, sisters, those who marry to India, back to Nepal and ask for the citizenship. That is the one of the major suspicion, major challenge for the ruling class. So all these things, after this Madhes movement, we have changed. How we changed? There are two, three things of the achievement I can say. Unity to federal setup, inclusive democracy and proportional representation. And try to redefine the Nepali nationalism. Where we, Madhesis tried to change the definition of Nepal. The definition was that those who speak Nepali, those who wear Daura Surwal, a special attire from the hill areas, those who live and they don't look like the Madhesis. So these are the whole structure defined, and that is the suspicious and issues still. But these are the issues when the movement was started and the agreement signed, they accepted. But now they said no, this is not acceptable. Even sometimes the ruling class do not even accept Madhesi as an equal citizen. So Madhes issue became the central issues in constitution making. So it is what are the remain issues, constitutional legal recognition of Madhesi as an equal citizen of Nepal, a realization of universal social, political, economic and cultural rights, proportional representation of Madhesis in all state organs, national level constitutional and legal rights of the Madhesis. So these are the issues which derail the constitution, and that's one of the issues is federal structure. And that's what the Professor Hachetu said, that identity base. There are attempts to not to recognize even the Madhesi word in the constitution. Still it is. Why should we say the name of the province as a Madhesi? Let us say Narayani, Bagmati, Kosi, Sagarmatha in such a name. So even the word, they have some irritation with the name of the Madhesi. So this is the actually real issues, and it seems that the Nepal is not discussing on the federal, but it seems that Nepal is a separated or something like that. It's the partition of the country. The discussion are in the parliament and the dominant political parties. When you see the private discussion, you find that they are discussing like it's the partition of the separation of the country, not the federal structure of the country. So these are the main issues that derail the constitution making. I don't know how long it goes. Even if these 4 or 5 issues they agree, more than 131 issues yet not to solve, and look like that it needs 3-4 months more. So what I mean that the major crux of the constitution making is the Madhesi issues, redefinition of Nepali nationalism, and these are unproportional representation of this. So these are the issues which the hill dominant ruling class never accepted Madhesi as equal citizens. I have a very small time, but I can say that if you see the 60 years, 70 years of Nepal's parliament, Nepal's bureaucracy, military, security forces, hardly find 5 to 7 to almost less than 10% except security forces. Even Nepali military not ready to include Madhesi in the military forces. They said that you are not competent enough. Your physical structure is not competent for fighting. I don't know where Nepali military is going to fight. So that's the military structure of Nepal. They never accept Madhes and Madhesis as a Nepali national. The same with the monarchy earlier also. So this is the continuity. There is a fight between heel Brahmanic ruling continuity or inclusion of Madhesi, indigenous community, Dalits, women and everybody in the state structure. And equal sharing of resources and equality. This is the basic issues in the constitution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. May I request now Advocate and columnist Mr.